And what's up, everyone? Welcome to twitch.tv/OPN Noobcast. I'm Fred Britzy. No need to hide my last name. I'm an honest guy. I'm right here for you in front of the webcam. And I am surrounded by some of my favorite people on earth. Now, officially, Sarah, who has been very loyal to the show these past couple weeks, and also Sarah, the one with the new microphone that actually works. Hi, Sarah.
I can actually speak today. Hi, everyone. You can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, and we're excited to have you on the show. We've got a new background coming out of your webcam. It's not the living room anymore. I think last week you were kind of today you're in a more cozy type of intimate environment. I like it. What's that?
Oh, thank you.
What's that painting I see in the back?
Okay, the dinosaur?
Yeah.
Oh, it says "Kiss Me Goodnight." I love dinosaurs. When I was 5, I thought I was a dinosaur.
Nice.
So I have dinosaurs all over my apartment. Like I have an ottoman and like planters. Like I thought I was Sarah from Land Before Time.
Do you read dinosaur stories to your daughter?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. I got 2 bugs.
I've already showed her Jurassic Park, I took her through all of them, and I was like, listen, the second one never would have happened.
Geek Talk.
We're not going to get...
There's only one Jurassic Park, period.
Yes, that was the first scary movie I ever saw, because I was scared of it because I was 8 years old at the time. So I was terrified that if a cup of water moved a little, that meant a T-Rex was coming to get me.
I'm kind of glad that I'm kind of happy that you brought up Jurassic 5 when you Jurassic Park when you were 5, because that is such an iconic moment, or when you were 8, that's such an iconic moment of my geek culture. I can't, you have a lot of memories. Oh. Childhood is funny because you kind of like it's so unreal how selective you can be about your memory when it comes to your childhood. Like you remember moments that are sporadic and far in between, right? And you don't really know why your brain decided to pick those to stay forever in your memory banks, right? Like you just don't know why that is. But Jurassic Park, I know why. Jurassic Park was such a moment in my young life at the movie theater. Seeing that was the first time we got some real CGI shit thrown in our face, right? Like hardcore. Great. Yeah, and it felt so true and so natural, and but the problem is,
which is why it terrified me.
Yeah, and to bring it all back to remake, which we're in the habit of doing on this show now, it's the same reason why I've never liked another Jurassic Park after that. It lost after the first one. The magic was gone, and I believe that you cannot continue to produce stuff because the first one worked. It worked because it was unique. Period.
I agree. I enjoyed the books. Lost World, the book was a lot better than the film.
Yeah.
But the original Jurassic Park, there's nothing getting past that. That is, to me, the scariest film that I've ever seen. It still gives me nightmares, but
it still has it aged? Because I haven't seen it in 10 years probably. Has it aged at all?
No, I wouldn't say so, because they do a really good job of keeping the same CGI type of faces for the animals, I'll call them, for the Jurassic World series. So they're doing a really good job. I'm really, really not looking forward to the third one of that. Like, I love me some Chris Pratt, but I'm not looking forward to dinosaurs being in the wild of America. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, let's keep it on an island.
Logan, how's everything?
Yes. Oh, my name. There. Hey.
Sorry,
Logan.
Back in here. You guys got into the Jurassic Park tyrant there, and I felt left out for a second.
Oh, we're sorry.
You Jurassic Park fan?
It was the first movie that my mom actually pulled me out of school to go see. and allowed me to ditch to go see because I love dinosaurs. And I actually happened to be an extra in Jurassic Park 3 because it was filmed in Burbank, and I happened to have received a couple bucks and am part of the people running in one of the scenes. So I've got a love affair with Jurassic Park.
Awesome.
You're kidding me. You're in Jurassic Park 3.
Like you're
technically speaking in Jurassic Park 3, Logan.
You're in the Jurassic
Park. You just
here.
beat the shit out of Natsume's Far Cry.
What do you got, Natsume? He can't even defend himself.
He's not even here.
I'm officially in an episode of the X-Files, which I find very exciting because I
never watched it.
X-Files fan. Oh, take like a week and watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
take like a month and watch the whole thing.
I feel like it's one of those things I've missed out on in my life.
Yes.
You know, we all have like these things in geek culture where like, I wish I would have been there. You know what's been happening to me though is my son, out of the blue, decided to start watching Dragon Ball. And just not even a week later, I found myself getting up in the morning, getting my coffee, going to work on my 3 monitors in my office, and one of them having season 1 of Dragon Ball just to catch up to my son and start watching again. Like, Dragon Ball has not aged a bit. Of course, they did like Dragon Ball Kai, which is like, it's pretty much like buying a Walt Disney movie on Amazon nowadays. Like, we were just talking about Disney, you and I, pre-show. Like, you buy give me any old Disney movie classic like Bambi, or you buy
Cinderella,
Sleeping Beauty, or Cinderella, right? Like, it don't matter. When you watch it, it's been completely recolored and retraced and rebuilt, but they've done it so tactfully that you legit feel like you're watching the Walt Disney movie. It's so well done. Kind of the same thing with Dragon Ball. Like, you watch Dragon Ball today and it looks and feels just like you remember it in 1990, right? That's when it came out or something like that. And yet it is the improved version, but it's done tactfully. And Dragon Ball hasn't aged a bit. Just like I used to watch it when I was a kid, and the storyline is great. It's fantastic, and just everything about that series is fantastic. Anyways, we're here to talk.
Still on their first Kamehameha, as far as I know. So of course it hasn't aged. Not wanting it. But we can also move on to the meat of the show here, because otherwise we'll talk pop culture and past all along. We're in the future.
Exactly.
We're now.
Just a side note, I don't know, Logan, if you remember when we covered Radio General, and we even have to develop it on the show. Well, congrats to the studio, because the game is doing extremely well on Steam. So we had him on the show. He came a week after his release when he was but a schmuck. He was on OP Noobs. And now he's a superstar from the indie scene, and he's doing great. And congratulations to him. It proves that OP Noobs is not crazy. Sometimes they do pick games that are actually going to make it and that nobody saw coming. And to me...
Oh, and originally Natsume even wasn't necessarily super hip to it until we talked through it, and then he watched the trailer a little more, and then we all agreed that game had all the things going for it. It just needed... an audience to get behind it, because there's a ton of polish and things that a lot of people don't do built into that game. So.
Exactly. And to me, that's the purpose of the show, is to look at not just the stuff that everybody's talking about, but the stuff that nobody's talking about, and that is actually going to sell well on Steam. So without any further delay, I'm going to shut up. This week is actually... it's so... Can I just preface...
Packed full of extremely huge games.
It's... a little bit
Sorry.
2 big ones, like the 2 big ones. But
let's start with a not well known game at all. Then let's start with the first one.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
We'll start with the first one.
Sarcastic,
the Elder Scrolls. Yes, that is definitely sarcasm I'm picking up. The Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor, ZeniMax Online Studios developer, Bethesda Studio Softworks publisher. Explore the frozen tundra and snowy mountains of western Skyrim and stop a powerful vampire lord from enslaving Tamilrala in Greymoor, part of the year-long gothic adventure, The Dark Heart of Skyrim. I know I said her name wrong. It looks like a mix between Tammy and Tamriel. Thank you. That I just couldn't say the word.
You seem to have strong opinions already, Logan. So go right ahead.
Who's heard of Elder Scrolls? Who's Bethesda? That sounds like a mom and pop shop. Indie AF out the gate, right?
You have beef with Bethesda. Just come out and say it.
Well, that's because I was stung with the last
the Fallout.
We discussed that 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I think I hopped into Elder Scrolls Online once when it first came out with some friends, and it just never really stuck to me. I'm not a huge Elder Scroll, like, I've tried them. I've also haven't made it very far in Skyrim. I've tried it even with the remastered edition. For some reason, like the series just never stuck on me like Fallout did. So. But Vampires, the naming conventions game, the cover art's good. It looks like it will be, people that are in the ESO, I think will probably enjoy it. Dark, gothic, everybody needs.
I think people will buy it. I think people will buy it. That is for sure, because it's got Gothic and Elder Scrolls.
So
those two together, it's going to bring in 2 people.
So when it comes to numbers, because Sarah, you're talking about numbers. I think I heard it. I don't know where I heard it, but I heard it somewhere, whether it was in the trailer or on Steam. I heard it somewhere. 13 million players. Is that really where it's at?
That is insane.
Join, because last I heard, Final Fantasy 14 was number 1. WoW was number 2. And okay, fair enough. I knew ESO was still in the race, still in the run, right?
I'm gonna guess, because looking at this, there's an Elder Scrolls Online Steam chart, and it says the average daily players for the month of April 2020, the average players is 28,000. Peak players is 50,000. That's on any given day.
Which is ridiculously low, right?
That's high. That's super high, especially on Steam charts.
You think that's high? You think that's higher than FF14 or?
No. I mean, that's Counter-Strike numbers. So they've got a healthy audience. But if they're throwing around a 13 million number,
okay,
that might be total active accounts across the entire franchise history. They did some free-to-play elements. They allowed people to try it. So anybody that, I've tried it, I've never paid for it. That could be logged as one of the 13 million numbers as far as an MMO is concerned. But I mean, that's a healthy audience to be able to throw at an MMO. 100%. That's game surviving, expansion ready audience. So ESO's not going anywhere from those sort of numbers.
Sarah, you MMO?
I don't know if any. Yeah.
Not really MMO. I mean, there's one that what is that one that I sometimes play? See, it's not one that I play often. So, I mean, we're talking about maybe once in the past 3 years, and maybe talking about an MMO will get me back to it. But really, those don't do much for me.
Yeah, I'm a huge MMO fan, right? MMO is my genre. And I played a fair bit of ESO. I played.
You have?
Yeah, probably solid 50, 60 hours. It's not huge, right? But it's substantial enough.
50, 60 hours. Come on. I've got alts and twinks on WoW that have lasted longer than that.
Oh yeah. But that's my point. It's that, it was a pleasant experience, but it felt too limited to me as an MMO in terms of action and combat. The universe, spectacular. And that's why, to me, these games are kind of so upsetting, because you play these games and you go back to WoW, and it's a hard transition to make, in the sense that when you go back to WoW, your reaction is, goddamn, this looks like shit. And no offense, Blizzard, but goddamn,
I also
this looks like
that
shit.
The video's not playing on the stream.
What do you mean? Oh, that the ESO is not playing?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah. But it's a mere technicality in comparison to my
to
my
previous?
fuck ups in the past. I just want to say.
No. It's all good. I just was gonna look to the timer because I also noticed Simon, talked about how ESO is also on console.
Oops,
I
I'm
was
hold on a minute. Checking everything up right now.
I tell you one thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame you on this one. Yeah. There, the sound of the next trailer started rocking into my ears. You're gonna take the blame on that one.
Okay, so you want me to go on to the next one now?
Yeah, just move on. The only thing I wanted to say is I'm curious to see if I haven't played ESO in like 2-3 years, so I'm curious to see how much the game has evolved with, and I think I'm gonna pick that one up and try it out just to check it out. Go ahead, Sarah. The next one is 505
Awesome.
Games.
It is Total Tank Simulator. Noobs from Poland developer and 505 Games publisher. A commander in the ranks, soldier at heart, choose a faction and deploy and command your army into massive physics-driven World War II battles to the last man standing. Destroy everything on sight and with an insane amount of units that will behave tactically.
Getting a ton of traction, for sure. 505 Games. It's funny because, I don't want to say, again, anything negative about 505 Games, but they have a very successful YouTube channel. The game came out, they did a bunch of videos, and the publisher picked them up midway, which is rare. Publishers tend to, and I think that's honorable, tend to pick up a studio at the beginning of a game's lifeline. When a publisher storms in midway into the lifeline of the development of a game because it's getting a ton of traction, a ton of attention, I've said enough. Aside from all this, 505 Games does pick up games that are like kind of successful and are going to be successful, and the stuff they support is great. This is, I think, yet another edition of something that's highly creative. I'm excited about this personally, and I probably won't even buy it. I'm just glad it's out there, because this is one of those games where I don't have the time, but I'm just glad it's out there. To me, that brings so much freshness, so much creativity, and you can tell me like, well, Fred, that's been done over before, but like the whole compilation of this game, it's to me that's got some Battlefield in like kind of stuff happening combat wise, where it's all coming from everywhere, the sky, the grounds, the waters, right? And at the same time it's just so totally indie with its little army man. I don't know what Logan, like Noobs from Poland.
Logan has an opinion. I want to know what Logan has to say.
Yeah, he seems to disagree, doesn't he?
I'm pained a little bit because I don't want to say bad things about it. I really don't. But watching the trailer, I really can't see good things about it. No. And this just comes from a strictly game developer standpoint, and having worked, like, I'll say, on Toy Soldiers franchise, like the sales pitch to this game. Let me make sure I don't mess it up, right? Let me tank simulator is what we're on. Commander in the ranks, soldier at heart, choose a faction and deploy your army into a massive physics-driven World War II battles for the last man standing. They're pulling on history things, their graphic palettes all over the place, it's poly hell, their frame rates, like there's things where hands aren't rendered, the animations don't, like, strictly from a polish perspective. And I don't know when they took this footage, I don't necessarily see it improving, and if it had a good audience behind it, of course 505 wants to throw money at something that, if it has a YouTube following, sure, they've got a built-in audience. You can throw money at something and make it marketing. If you have numbers and people are already playing it, they're going to do it for you. But like the hours of painstaking time put on Toy Soldiers to put thematic music, to make sure that things look good, this like no hands-on stuff, and they're using like plugins straight out of the box, like. Their name, Noobs from Poland, I agree. They did spot on job on naming their developer studio, but ultimately, I praise them for pushing into a hard genre. If they have the multiplayer aspect in there, that's going to be difficult for them. You know, there's a lot of plugins that help you with that nowadays, but I just don't think it looks good is the problem. And that's for me as a developer, like, spend some time, polish these elements. Don't just use Unity FPS things out of the gate and push them in.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but this is not to go in the way that Logan is going. This is not early access.
No. No,
I'd give you that, Logan. It has the early access feel, right?
It does. Everything, the animations, everything looks jumpy, unpolished, and just that looks like a very brand new developer trying to make a game, 100%. Mm-hmm. And that's, that's what it reads as. So, if
this is a one-man show, like you seem to imply,
it can be. No. This has a team. This has a team working on it. Noobs being plural, obviously, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
there's at least two.
There's so many things in this that just, like, if you just watch the individual trailers for it, that just make me, from a perspective of calling this a finalized product, just kind of twinge, and a lot of very, very sloppiness tossed in the visuals that I'm seeing currently. They may be working it out as they go through it. It could be all.
It's still gonna sell. In my opinion, it's still gonna sell.
That's great. There's lots of things that aren't very well polished that can sell. So, if it has a marketing exercise and it has a way to promote itself, then great. But I think they need to spend a little bit more time and polish some of the rough edges and show some care into it.
If Logan was the boss of that studio, he'd be the one everybody hates.
Yeah, he'd be like the one, right? You're fired today.
This is gonna sell. We're gonna make money, but you guys are shit. Get your shit together. Make a game.
If they went to show me this trailer, I would just, we're not showing that. Like, get some fucking standards. But that's 16 years of game development. I'm like in 17 years in digital entertainment at this point. So, like, as a whole, like, my pedigree is just not going to allow me personally to put something like that out, and that's just a standard I set for myself.
Like,
target,
I don't want to linger on this, but I've got to bring up that point, and I do want to hear from you too, Sarah, on what you think of this game. But this is just such a precious moment for me, because last night I was playing Dark Souls 3, and I had those exact thoughts that you're having, because I had like this up close branch of leaves, right, that it was so close to my cam that I could see how pixelized the whole damn thing was, right? And I just focused on that for a moment, and I thought how extraordinary and just genius thinking these developers in a AAA bubble. This is the indie bubble, right? And we're thinking AAA bubble, Activision, like, because Dark Souls 3, when it releases, compete in terms of sales, is going to compete against a Call of Duty game. It's that popular, right?
Now it is, sure.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah.
And just how careless the developers have been on some key features of the game, right? Some key features of Dark Souls are just so rough. Let's admit it.
See, the problem is I can't.
You see what I'm saying, though, right? Like, you see the parallel that I'm trying to draw. Like, if the indie game, forget the race, forget whether it's indie or AAA, if it looks fucking fun, who gives a shit if it's pixelized, right? Like, this to me looks fun, Logan, and I can understand that you as a creator get frustrated about just the lack of polish, right? But I think this type of stuff completely escapes the bulk of the niche gaming community that this appeals to, which is substantially big.
I disagree. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just gonna say, I agree. It looks like fun. I mean, I want to kill every last man standing. Like, I want to be number one on that hill. And I think that appeals to a lot of people. And even though it may look crappy, people aren't going to care, because they don't have to pay as much as they have to pay for other games. And he's just rubbing in his eyes. He's like, screw this.
Because we got to move on. But I kind of despite the fact that I disagree with you, I feel for you in the sense that like I respect where you're coming from on this. I from a creative standpoint, an artistic standpoint, I totally respect and appreciate the fact that
I will bite into the next because the next one
Sure.
comes from Amazon, because this is just like almost someone went to describe Final Fantasy the remake to a group of people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been playing it. The doors have crappy pixelated graphic." Like they listed out 3 flaws in that game that are so minute in what is basically a masterpiece of technological like effort, and yet the person hyper focused on the fact that like one door or something else was pixelated. I noticed it. I'm like, oh, it's a bad model. Whoops. You can fix that later. This game is like damn near a masterpiece as far as they're transitioning from cinematics to something else. But you focus on what you want to focus on. So if you want to focus on the fact of like taking little army dudes and like being on a battlefield, you don't care if they're neon pink and it has the standard Unity FPS UI, and there's no work put into that whatsoever, as opposed to someone that made a UI, user tested it, they just installed it from the Unity store and just said, yep, it works, we're good, we're done. That's the level of shit that I'm talking about. And like the same sort of mindset of saying, oh, a AAA title like Final Fantasy had crappy blocky doors in one scene of one cinematic. This game is, there's no way it's 10.
You look at the price difference and how much they're going to make on Final Fantasy and how much...
No, guys, no. I'm not going to let you dwell on this subject. We're moving on.
Okay.
Before we move on, Sarah, just quickly, opnoobs.com/raffle for the 10 people in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. opnoobs.com/raffle. Don't miss out, because there's a ton of games that are being given away at the end of the show. Don't pay attention to the funky wonky chat on Twitch that says we keep giving Battle Chasers, whatever that game is. Like, we're not.
There's a dating app, a dating game this week, and I'm like, really? A dating game?
And
anyways.
We've got Alti in the chat. Hey, Alti. Thanks for checking in. It's nice of you. Alti's a good... Okay. Alti, you should come on the show, man. Like every now and then. Please do.
Please, because Fred's just here to piss me off now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move on.
One last thing before you move on, because I want to plug that in. It's important to plug that in. It is actually an incredibly creative gaming week, and I think I've actually failed everyone on the show and in the audience when it comes to the picks I made. I tried my best. We've got 7 great games to talk about, but there's a ton of, like, unusually so, I would say, there's a ton of great games that are coming out this week, about 50% more than on average. It's on opnoobs.com. You'll find our selection. It's an incredibly creative week, so do check it out. I hope I did a fair selection. Go ahead, Sarah, and give us the next one.
Sure. The next one's Crucible, Relentless Studios developer, Amazon Games publisher, and it's really easy. Crucible is a free-to-play, team-based PvP action shooter driven by the choices you make, and that's the literal description.
Yeah. God, I feel like we see one of these every week nowadays.
So did we not just look at this like 4 weeks ago?
No, because this is Amazon Games' big entry into gaming.
Oh my god! So we looked at another one that was just like almost identical.
Yeah, Predator, Hunter, something, right? Like Hunter.
It was something with a unique cast of characters, and we were watching the gameplay footage wasn't very good, and they were like in a spiral dojo, and it was like someone on YouTube going through it.
Oh.
The thing is, sometimes I feel like the game's actually pretty legit. It's the marketing that's awful.
Yeah, because this is terrible marketing. As a writer, like, I would write at least 3 more sentences.
I mean, it's going to have an Amazon budget applied to it. This is their first pedigree game. I know they've shipped stuff, like smaller stuff out and tested stuff, and I know tons of people that have worked over there, continuing to work over there, especially in the Seattle area. But to me, this looks like like any of the...
Logan, don't be the Facebook competition here, okay? Like,
No. That's why
you
I
have
said
10 viewers in the chat. You can compliment Amazon. It's okay.
No. It looks so the Amazon engine is built on Crytek, and that's the engine that they purchased, and they built into it Lumberyard, and it's a phenomenally powerful engine.
So hold on, let me stop you right here. Crytek, do they have monopoly over Crytek?
They bought Crytek.
So they own it. Nobody else
They
can.
They own Crytek.
So Crytek basically means Amazon.
Correct.
Okay.
So
so how much do you know about this engine?
From a development standpoint, from the Lumberyard dev engine, I've poked around in it. It's Crytek though, so
looks beautiful.
Crytek always looks good. A pain in the ass to work in.
Is it? Yeah.
Compared to Unity or Unreal, there's a lot of built-in knowledge, specifically to work within it. So I really wish Natsume was here because he'd be able to talk a bit more about Crytek and some of its development history from a more lineage perspective. But sure, the game looks phenomenal. It has Amazon's dollars behind it, right? It's not going to be a bad-looking game, but it looks generic. The game that I was thinking of was from Turtle Rock Studios, which is Evolve, that had hunters. It was the 4v1, so it was a monster. It was asymmetrical multiplayer.
Evolve was a great game.
It was,
despite its lifeline. Surprisingly,
really well polished,
really
Unreal,
really great,
beautiful game. And they had planetary things elements that while they were in 4v1, you had to worry about the planet. So it has some of these elements. It has some generic shooter elements. Once again, it's kind of wacky characters. Here's a cat for people, and here's a robot that is kind of like a little mini Bumblebee. And I get it. You make characters to kind of help fit this rogue, random inner space, wonky. But I couldn't tell this apart from the other game, and I didn't even realize Amazon was shipping a game right now because I'm so focused on my work that a bit of the gaming. This is nice to be able to catch up weekly, but
Sarah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Logan. You done?
Yeah.
I just want to give Sarah some time to go ahead, Sarah.
It's a player versus player action shooter, so I mean, it's okay. Like, I prefer FPS personally, and real time strategy games. Those are the ones I prefer playing. But would I play it? Sure, I'd give it a chance. But it's also free to play, so.
Sure, but from an FPS standpoint, like, forget the fact that you like RTS or whatnot. Like, you look at this within the FPS bubble. Do you think this competes?
It has some potential, considering that they're just getting into the gaming strategy place. Forget kind of what word I want to put there, but it does have that Amazon feel that it's going to be free to play because the next one is going to be 2 times as better. So that one's you're going to have to pay for. So that's kind of what I'm feeling. It's going to be good to play and fun to play. And you're going to be like, hey, we should play Crucible together. And it's going to go from one mouth to the other. And then they're going to get a following. And then the next game you're going to have to pay for.
Yeah. I'll move on because I think, I just said, personally, I think this looks okay. It doesn't look great. And when it comes to what they're actually doing, I would tell Amazon, come up with your own shit. Like, you have enough genius in your company to come up with your own shit. So stop giving me Tracer from Overwatch. And if you're going to come into the gaming industry, come in the Amazon way. 2-day Prime delivery, bitch. Probably same day as well. Get your shit together. Get into gaming the way you do business.
I didn't have to be harsh at all. Look at Fred, just
like he threw it out there. I mean,
if I was the boss at Amazon, like you were the boss on that other game, Logan, I would fire everyone on that team and I would start from scratch.
I think they've done that once or twice already, so.
Yep.
Anyways, moving on.
Okay, so the next one is Monster Train. Its developer is Shiny Shoe. Its publisher is Good Shepherd Entertainment. Monster Train is a strategic roguelike deck building game with a twist. Set on a train to hell, you'll use tactical decision making to defend multiple vertical battlegrounds with real-time competitive multiplayer and endless replayability. Monster Train is always on time. Someone really wanted to write that. Like they really put their heart and soul into that paragraph. Like, I mean, when we're dealing with what was that replayability? Like, I was like, okay, you really wanted to like give it to them, but it just is. It's a deck building game with a twist.
So the funky thing about this one to me, because it's been kind of thrown into my face every day until it launches this week, and I think it's going to continue. When does it launch? Like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that.
This is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
This one I just can't make up my mind on. Is this going to sell? Is this going to be a total flop? Is this foreign? Yes, I said it, foreign. Like it feels from abroad, like in a bad way, or is this actually hands-on foreign, but getting its shit together?
Foreign in a Fred way?
Yeah, like, no, foreign in the sense, like, for example, it's a Korean game, right? Yeah. And it's gonna totally flop on Steam, but for some reason it's on Steam anyways. There's just so many of these, right? Or is this one of those Korean games that, you know, the studio, the team over there has their eyes on what a Western audience is going to purchase, and they do a great job at localizing all that crap, and they actually come up with a pretty damn cool, fun looking game, right? And US gamers, I don't care, like Swedish gamers, German gamers, Spanish gamers, they go on Steam, they look at this shit and it's like, yeah, I spent $15 on this looks fun, boom, purchase. Without even like recognizing the fact that it comes from abroad. I don't even know if it comes from abroad, from a matter of fact. It just feels that way to me, and that's enough for me to kind of raise my eyebrows and think, what the fuck is happening here? Right? Like, it's one of those games like I can't just leave it out of the week, right? I can't just say, this doesn't exist, I don't give a shit, throw it in the trash like everything else. I can't do that. I'd be an asshole to do that. You know, they even have, they have like live streams on YouTube. You're looking at the footage right now. Like, these people are, and I also want to applaud the fact that here's a CCG that's not a CCG, that's not, I was just saying Amazon, come up with your own shit. They're coming up with their own shit. They are. Like, you look at this stuff, it's, so I want to say a cautious yes. And I let Sarah start on that one. Like, go ahead.
Well, to me, it's just someone really did a good job describing the game, because they wanted you to know every little detail without you having to watch a trailer. And that to me says overreach, but at the same time, it could just be their foreign gamers or what have you, that they're just trying to put in more descriptive words to get a broader base. But I mean, it does have a twist. It is a deck building game, but you know, vertical battles sounds pretty cool. I like that, so I'd give it a go.
Shiny Shoe is actually based out of the Bay Area. They're in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, San Francisco.
That's foreign.
That's West Coast. Come on. Good Shepherd Entertainment, the publisher for it, the parent organization is actually Devolver, and Good Shepherd is.
Say that again, Logan.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Good Shepherd is actually is the parent organization. The owner of Good Shepherd is Devolver Digital.
So do you feel like I'm smoking crack when my intuition tells me that this looks foreign?
This seems like it has more of a foreign feel to it. it's a stab in the dark. Ultimately, they've got a really high-arted CCG, and the twist is the battlefield is turned on its side, and they've got animations going with it. Personally, I don't think I could stare at a CCG that has constantly scrolling background, because that's the niche. You're on a train, and it's just like this happening in the background, but on the peripheral. So it's a bit distracting and a little too movement based. If it would have just been holding still, then it might have been a bit more pleasant on the eye. That's a small. Some people don't mind consistent moving. I get sick reading in a car with stuff moving, and I'm just too ADD and hyper focused. But as CCG tosses, it is one of those, you have your pasta dish and just toss it on the wall, see if it sticks. If it sticks, you could have something that works for a while. It's a hard space to be in, though, and compete for financial means against other people and players in the space like Magic or like Blizzard, or that small mom and pop shop that started the show. Elder Scrolls even tossed one out there. Valve tossed one out there. Everybody's got a CCG at this point. So
I feel like they had a great concept. They had fantastic execution. I don't know if the cartoonish style is working for them.
I think it works in the overall aesthetic that they're trying to go for, especially with the amount of animations they have and the amount of movement, because this is a very movement focused.
This is a very Castlevania universe to me.
And they're trying to pull your idea away from it being specifically a CCG into the aesthetic of like you're kind of playing a game. So less focus on the cards, more focus on the movement. But once again, if Valve fails at a CCG and had to pull theirs down, Artifact just like bombed. Good luck. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but aren't you impressed just by what you just said, right? Like what they're actually doing. This is kind of fresh, man.
Yeah, it's turned sideways and there's lots of movement. Super fresh.
Yeah, but fresh is rare. Fresh is rare. Fresh is welcomed.
100%.
I think what Logan's saying is that it's a good idea, except it's turned on its side and it's got constant motion.
It's an idea they didn't outside of just the standard
well said,
back
Sarah.
and forth battlefield. So
Yeah, and that's why I can't I'm bugged by this game, because I can't make whether I like it or not. There's some issues, and I can't put my fingers on what these are.
Play it, then I want you to play it, and you should let us know.
Okay, we have Shadow Arena Early Access, developed and published by Pearl Abyss. Countless will fall. Oh my goodness, let me start that over. Countless will fall, and only one will ultimately. Okay. Sorry, Ed. My mouth. Okay. Countless will fall, and only one will ultimately rise victorious in the Shadow Arena. In battles that pit 40 heroes against each other in fierce action-packed showdowns, do you have what it takes to defeat your opponents and become the final survivor, the sole champion? Sorry, I needed to say it like a movie.
Yeah, another kind of odd duck in the list this week, but too big to ignore. Big in terms of production and big in terms of following. I'm not a fan of some of the stuff I'm seeing here, and I'm saying that like in parentheses because I haven't played the game. I really can't form an opinion from what I'm seeing, but some of this stuff looks very. You look at the production whole and it feels very polished and big production, right? Like immediately you think AAA, and then immediately when you actually get to some of the cutscenes, away from the cutscenes and into the gameplay, you start to look at things that look a little bit shaky, and yet big following, big YouTube, a lot of YouTube subscribers, a lot of traction, a lot of people talking about it. Sarah, first thoughts.
First thoughts is it sounds nice that I would be 1 out of 40 to be the sole champion, but knowing me, I'd be like number 37. So like it wouldn't go far for me, so it wouldn't impress me much, but I see the appeal to I definitely see the appeal in it. I mean, as men, I mean, you guys like being on top, right?
No comment.
I meant in business and games.
It depends nowadays.
What were you thinking about?
It depends nowadays.
But yeah, I think it's going to do well, especially this is early access. So I think, you know, if they really go for it and they take some advice from the early access reviews, then I think it could be a real hero in the genre.
The reason it looks so good, we'll do a little backstory. Pearl Abyss is Black Desert Online. So this is probably going to be the same engine as a very, very popular South Korean MMO. They have a wonderful, beautiful engine to work with, great physics, so they add that kind of for free. And I think this is the reason it's got eyes on it is because it's going to play out like Black Desert Online's arena. So it's basically the MMO PvP element from Black Desert Online shifted into its own game. Do I think it could have legs? If the PvP audience just had their own game to play, maybe it'll have legs. PvP sometimes in MMOs can spark and be its own unique point outside of it. Maybe it was really good. Could WoW PvP survive without WoW? I don't know. Maybe not. It's a joint component. So to say any of these things like Guild Wars PvP could survive without the MMO, I think this is an exercise in it. But once again, they have a great engine to start from. They have a fan base built in. They've got an audience that'll play it. Mixed reviews though, which is interesting. They talked about optimization, which is
interesting, but surprising.
Surprising a little bit because they've already done some of the optimization to even have Black Desert Online minimized for performance hit reasons, because it's a really, really, really robust, big physics precision engine. So the reviews that I kind of looked at through Steam had talks of performance being their biggest complaint, and then ultimately the fact that the arena play was imbalanced, which often happens in MMOs. You know, similar to, I'll just pick WoW because I have experience with it. There's a handful of viable comps within Warcraft, right? And in arenas, you need X thing, and typically you're trying to do X, Y, and Z. Even at the highest level, there's a lot of precision skill clicking. But is that a matter of, you know, are things going to feel balanced? Is that going to feel good for everybody? Are you going to want to play the character that you like that's a little kitty cat compared to something else that is going to be more viable? I don't know. So built-in audience, it's going to look good, but does it have legs? Once again, especially now, I'm interested to know. I'm super stoked to hear that Radio General is doing well. That warms my heart.
Wow, that's a big transition. That's a big transition.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about like it's
nice, right? It's nice to think that, right?
It's interesting shipping games right now, and even with built-in audiences, you know, I don't know if that means that this will have legs out the gate, right?
I would say that 2020 has been maybe not 2016, if you remember 2016, The Witcher 3 and everything that came with it, but the 2020 has been a great year in gaming so far, and we haven't had like a good year in 2 to 3 years. It's been pretty boring. Well, it's like Tomb Raider was the most exciting release last year, I think. Like, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it being 2020 and what we're going through, I think that there's a lot more gamers available, making a lot more indie games popular than before in other years. So whereas people might have looked over something this year, because of the pandemic, we're all stuck inside and we're like, oh, I'll give that a go. And then, you know, you tell a person, they tell a person.
I don't even know if it's related to the pandemic, because I feel like these games have been in production for quite some times now. I feel like there's a cycle in gaming where like great games and great ideas come every 3-4 years, and in between you have those filler years almost. And it's almost like an industry secret, right? Because maybe everything's connected, and you know, they know that you want to compete against an audience and you want Like you want to eat away the audience of that other studio, just like we saw with XCOM a couple weeks. Like all these studios are not talking to each other, but they're looking at each other, and everything kind of moves together in block. Like this is a big year because Bethesda is coming out with its new game. Not Bethesda, CD Projekt Red, right? Like they're coming out with their new game. It's not The Witcher 4. It's this brand new game, and that game is, and so big. And here I'm just going crazy in my head, but I'm thinking like other big studios are going like, that's going to be a big year in gaming. Like we have to be a part of that year. So do this for 2018-19, but in 2020 you got to be there. And suddenly all these studios start moving that way in big blocks, right? Like 2020 is a big year, 2020 is a big year, and big productions are being built towards that year, and everything they do in between. I don't know, Logan, am I smoking crack here?
There's blasts. So there's lots of factors. If you're going to talk about the game development cycles, you've got console cycles, you've got engine cycles, you've got time within any of those.
Right.
Knowledge base builds up. Maybe they saw a game that they liked 3 years ago, and then finished shipping the project that they were on, and like, we can make that game but better, and let's do it. So then you'll start to run into this sort of cadence. There's lots of things that affect the market, but it's unfortunate when there's an overly big year in gaming, and it tends to happen for some reason, because you try to avoid those blast zones of the large games, especially if you have a related title. But some people will just cannibalize the same market and just drop bombs left and right. And there's been hacked seasons sometimes where you just feel really bad because that's lined up with your ship date, and you would have never once shipped there otherwise. But the exact same time, it's funny, I just was at the store and got like a bag of chips, and I saw that Wonder Woman's coming out next month, and I'm like, oh my god, Wonder Woman would have killed box office numbers again. And it's just going to be like, what is a Marvel movie mean shipping now in next month in less than a couple weeks? It's like,
oh yeah, the movie industry, I think we're going to lose it. I think we're moving away from theaters to just home entertainment. That's how I feel. Just to get off topic.
But are you also referring to like mass production?
Just everything in general. Like, what is this going to look like for this year and everything? What is production cycle pertaining to the timelines that exist? I know timelines for everything are just kind of getting kiboshed, and like,
yeah, things getting canceled, pushed back in production. And I mean, May 1st, that was my birthday. We were supposed to have Black Widow for me as a gift, and
you're supposed to do a live stream too, Sarah.
And
I know, but
you caught up on it. You came on Twitch quite a few times. Let's move on.
Okay.
We already have the next game on the stream. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's Project Genesis Early Access. It's 8 Circuits Studios developer and publisher, a team-based sci-fi PvP shooter that fuses 2 types of gameplay into one: ship-to-ship combat with simultaneous FPS close quarters battles.
God, wow. Logan, I know you're in a bad mood, but please don't shit all over this.
I'm not in a bad mood. Please I'm really not.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. But just, but I can see you shitting over this, I guess.
Yeah.
When I think it's cool.
Well, then let's hear your high. You want to hear my points, and then we can end on your high notes, because this just isn't my style.
Yeah,
of
but
game, right?
Do you see how it shifts, right? Like for some reason, it shifts. Like you get into first-person style shooter, bam, bam, bam. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty good. Like it's. You see, here's. All right, let me draw a comparison. God, please help me with this game. This game that's been in not even early access, in beta, alpha. They're not even on Steam. These fuckers are too good for Steam. Star City. What is the game? I have it downloaded too. I give them $60, those assholes. And they've been. Citizen? I think so. I don't want to say something stupid, but a game that's been like forever in development, that's supposed to be amazing, and they're making a ton of money off of gamers. They're just making.
It's Star Citizen. That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, they're just making so much money. It's just ridiculous, and game's nowhere like even close to being done. And every time I walk into the game, it looks exactly the same as I left it. But and it's just so much hype for at the end what a game like that essentially is. It's a space shooter and a first-person shooter combined, and it goes into it. Now, of course, like, this is not Star Citizen, right? It's like a far lesser quality. It's just a far smaller production. But at the end of the day, I look at this and I think this looks fun, right? Like, this looks pretty well done. I'm kind of a fan of what they did here. Is it early access, Sarah?
Yes, I believe it said early.
Yeah,
yes,
it's on early access, and it does feel just a little bit that way if you're an ambitious developer. I don't know. I've got something. Here's my thing, and then I let you go. I like it when suddenly you have a complete change of scenery. Maybe it's expected in AAA, but when the indies do it, it surprises me, and I'm thinking it's bold, it's adventurous, and I respond well as a gamer. I respond well to that. Like I almost like I get excited with them. You know, it's like, ooh, now I'm in space. Let's go check that shit out and start shooting stuff, and then boom, I'm in the spaceship now. First gun shooter mode. It's I like everything that I'm seeing, and if you're gonna just criticize the it looks like everything else and stuff, like I feel like you're unfair. But go ahead.
No, not at all. And this is where I was gonna let you hype it, and then I was actually gonna hype it more because this game looks great.
Yeah.
Right. This
thanks.
trailer is great. Like they have. I'm not necessarily a huge space combat fan, but they go through all their key features in this trailer video. They break down each one and they show really clean, good examples of it.
Yeah.
And it looks really, really, really polished. The characters look, it could be confused with whatchamacallit. What is that space? Dead Space. There we go. I'm like, what's the space?
Dead Space, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, one of the tank.
Yeah.
Dead Space,
yeah.
This character, the avatars look like any one of the things because Destiny has now been out. This has been out. We've got examples you can pull from stuff. That's fine. But ultimately, they show space combat looks good. If he was here, he'd be losing his mind. The first person combat looks phenomenally well polished. They do a pan, it looks clean. The HUD looks good. The guns look good. They do a breach moment where they basically show you breaching the side of a hull and then hopping down into first person mode. That to me is just like the wet dream of what Halo never accomplished. So I commend them for their work. And I think this development studio, the reason I'd commend them for their work once again is because this studio is just filled with a small indie team that has worked on a ton of projects. They have tons of experience underneath their belt.
Yeah, I hope it does well. It looks great to me. Okay. So the next one is a Saints Row the Third.
It's the last one. Last one.
Oh, that's the last one? Okay. So Strategic Mine Blitzkrieg. Did I say that right?
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg. Thank you. Developer and publisher not listed. Strategic Mine Blitzkrieg is a turn-based strategy set. Oh,
I think you misunderstood me, Sarah.
Sorry.
Saints Row is the last
Saints
one
Row
we're covering
is the last
tonight.
one.
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's my fault.
Okay. Saints Row the Third Remastered, Deep Silver I'm saying that wrong. Someone say it right for me, please.
Oof, that's a. You're gonna have to
What
talk
is
to.
that?
You're gonna have to talk to Logan about that.
Oh, sorry.
For English, talk to Logan.
Yeah, Logan, what's that?
For English pronunciation, talk to Logan.
So, Volition.
Volition, thank you. Spearsoft developers, Deep Silver publisher. Experience the full package, remastered. Steelport, the original city of sin, has never looked so good as it drowns in sex, drugs, and guns. The Third Street Saints are at the height of power and yours to control. This is your city. These are your rules. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Volition's originally out of Chicago. It was a THQ owned studio and was acquired by Deep Silver. Obviously, if it's Deep Silver Volition, and they continue to ship Saint Row. So
Who is Deep Silver?
Deep Silver's a publisher.
Right, refresh my memory. Like, who's behind? If you can do some research, Sarah, like online, just on Google right now. Like, who's the Deep Silver? Because I saw Deep Silver today as I was putting this stuff on from Epic Games. It's on Epic Games, by the way. It's not on Steam. And I was looking at that stuff, and I was thinking, Deep Silver. How does that not ring a bell when it comes to the Saints Row label?
Oh, because they were just supporting shipping Saints Row for a while. Because THQ owned it. Deep Silver, like Volition, ended up being part of the weird, funky THQ collapse, and Deep Silver ended up helping publish them. And Deep Silver is also Dead Island, Metro Exodus. But the most notable thing from Deep Silver definitely was like the Dead Island trailers. Those things were masterpieces in marketing exercises, and that's where one of my good friends, I think Duncan helped support the whole Deep Silver exercise. Will Powers, all some folks that I'm good friends with worked over at Deep Silver for a while, and now we're elsewhere. But Saints Row, yeah, I mean, it's a remastered competitor in the GTA space, and only got better as as it had more time to develop its character and its goofiness, and had lots of good things going for it. So
what's up with the big faces?
I assume it's one of the modes that was available, and probably a community favorite point of really goofy big heads or something.
Yeah, but it's like predominant on their YouTube channel. That's
no. If you're watching, they pulled it off. They were just masks.
Oh.
If you're watching the channel live right now, they're just taking it off because it's one of the characters' masks or whatever. I never ended up playing it, so. No, it's super well polished. It's a GTA competitor that basically had a bit more gang baked activities and colors to your gangs. Before GTA had that as like a multiplayer mode.
What surprises me is that apparently from what I'm seeing, this anticipates Saints Row 4, right? Like Saints Row 4 is coming out. Don't know exactly the release date, and they're squeezing this one in. Sure.
Get a remaster in ahead of time, give people, something clean and up to date, and get them ready as a freebie to help support, the IP as a whole. Why not?
That's pretty aggressive strategy, I'd say.
It's smart, This is depending on we're giving away the games in 5 to 10 minutes. I just looked at chat. Depending on whether or not Logan stops complaining.
I don't know who wrote that. I think it's fucked up. Anybody would write.
Right? That is just fucked up. See, for me, for Saints Row, it's just the search for more money. Like it is what it is. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I think like I used to be like you, Sarah, where I used to complain about the games I don't like. On this show, I've stopped doing that because I have come to realize it's not fair to do that. Like, it's not because you don't like the game, because I'm like you, I don't like Saints Row. I don't like GTA. Like a lot of people love that stuff. A lot of people are happy it's coming out, and I'm sure they're excited. And it does look, objectively speaking, that at least it looks like a good remake.
It definitely looks. It looks clean. It looks clear. It looks what it should look like. Just that is my personal one-person opinion, not OP Noob's opinion.
No. It's totally fair, because I completely agree with you. I don't like the brand. I don't like the messaging. I don't like the vibe. I don't like. It's not for me, but it does look good.
But people will be stoked it's out on Switch, which Switch has picked up a lot in popularity, especially.
Yeah, it's surprising that that's on Switch, by the way. To me.
That shocked me. But Mortal Kombat went to Switch, and that is violent as fuck. Like, serious.
They're starting to give their audience a bit more mature titles as things have come along. And, ultimately, if this is a game that also had a plethora of DLC and they want to give everybody one cohesive price point and had it remastered, it's a value to the gamers that are a fan of this thing, because it gives you one easy package on the new consoles, updated, looks better, and it's got a funky overly comical vibe that followed it. It's not nearly a very serious game. So if you want that fun gang-based GTA with way over the top humor, then this would be an easy go for sure.
You excited about number 4?
Number 4, I worked on the very first Saints Row when I was at THQ, and that was my only interaction with Saints Row. I'm not a huge player of that genre of game. So
yeah. So no, but I mean, it's technically speaking, it's kind of like the most important release of the week, right?
Definitely.
And yet somehow, I don't want to just end the show on and quickly Saints Row 3 remake is coming out and Saints Row 4 like this is a big deal. What made Saints Row because like in other words, like you've got GTA, and I've always looked at Saints Row as kind of
it's Saints Row 5 that's coming out.
Is it?
4.
Is it? Okay, it's Saints Row 5. I'm hearing from my technician that it is.
From the producer in your ear, we can't see any voices, but it's Saints Row 5 is finally coming, by the way.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt the show. I'm hearing from my technician that it's Saints Row 5 that is coming out. It will not be Saints Row 4.
Saints Row 4 came out in 2013, so we only missed that one by 7 years. It's all good.
Yeah, there's not even a confirmed release date yet. It's going to be released in 2021.
But the bottom line is Saints Row reaction to GTA.
No, they're on their own. It survives at its own cadence at this point. There's no, just like GTA can ship, Rockstar wouldn't necessarily poach their own audience, but it ships independently of Red Dead Redemption. They have those on off cycles, but like it's their audience. It's the same developers working, like-minded passing of pieces. So
now remind me, in Red Redemption 2, can you take whores from the bar and kill them and then take the money you used to pay them with? Because that was my favorite part about GTA. Like, hands down, best part of the game.
For some people, sure, that made interesting takes. I didn't make it very I was too blown away by the technology that they had in Red Dead Redemption. Made it to like this second town with like the physics of the snow and like your horse trailing down the mountain. But ironically, they kind of fell victim to too much technology for me, even as like a video game. Like, oh, this is phenomenal what they're doing. But they had a camera mode where they basically it was called cinematic audio, I think, and like I heard the snowstorm and I was on a horse with a group of people, but they walked out of frame, and because the audio was related to where the actors were in the scene, as they walked out of frame, I couldn't hear them anymore. I'm like, I'm missing key dialogue because you guys are so high on this technology piece that you've improved it to a realistic point where it's no longer for me, it's for the art, and that's where they kind of lost me. So, well,
let's hope that Saints Row, 5, when it comes, it gives us the art value, but at the same time, it doesn't offend the player by taking out dialogue.
Oh no, not at all. That's just me. I know.
It's giveaway time.
Apparently, I'm a complainer. Hey, giveaway time! I didn't have to
giveaway time. Oh, Logan. What's funny to me is that Logan is surprised it's giveaway time, even though he signed up for the giveaway.
I was gonna sign up, and then I was
Did you sign up, Sarah?
No, I didn't. I'm so bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you should sign up. It's
okay.
It's a little late now.
It's a little late now.
It's too late now, Sarah.
No. It's definitely not too late.
I'm about to roll the wheel of fortune. Logan's getting excited. He already won 2 weeks ago.
No. This is happening. What is my Twitch name? Damn it! I don't remember.
No, it's too late. It's going right in front of you right now. It's super awesome giveaway time. I see Logan.
It's so funny because when Fred said, "Hey, you should sign up," but it's too late, he did it to me like 2 months ago. I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm not gonna sign up. And then like a time that I did sign up is still my favorite clip of Fred just like crying out for it to not be me.
Oh yes, it's finally someone we don't know who wins the giveaway.
Yay!
That to me is rewarding because suddenly
Actually,
I
do know Bullet Enigma because
Damn
he's
it.
one of my Twitter followers and he's in my WoW guild, and I told him about the giveaway tonight, and he was here.
Oh well,
So-
that's awesome. That's actually
That's word of mouth.
that it's not my mom. That's all I care about.
Oh, she's gonna be so disappointed.
Thank you, Bullet Enigma, for watching the stream. Now, sincerely, like I'm excited. I think this is a great show. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well.
And he commented even at the top of the stream, letting us know that the audio for you is coming specifically out of the left channel of the headset, and a couple other people mimicked that information. So I don't know if you have to look at your channel setting for your audio output, but the audience themselves, who even won tonight, that saw it for the first time, are letting you know that it was just coming out of the left side. So.
For me?
No, for Fred.
For Fred. Okay.
I'm like, cool. That's something to be solved for the stream after. But like, hiccups were minimal. We only missed the first video for part of it.
No, I think that actually qualifies as you deserve all these games. Like that's actually
you see what I'm saying?
You just forever improved the Noobcast. Like you just did, because tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna think, what the fuck, Fred? Like, you've done
before when I was like, I don't think I can figured out my headset. I think we're gonna have a problem, and we got on, and thankfully I worked this week.
I think that I like to think that once I start coming out of 2 ears, we're actually gonna lose viewership. We're actually gonna go down. It's like, fuck. Now we understand what that asshole is saying. I had a great time. Thanks, guys. Logan,
yes,
thanks for coming on, cheering the troops forward. Sarah, really appreciate you. You sound great, by the way. You're all fixed up now. I'm gonna make sure I come out of 2 ears next week for the Natsume comeback. Natsume is coming out with his game. Check it out as well. I think in just about 2 weeks he'll come to talk. We're gonna poop over Chris Natsume's game next week, Logan.
I will have nothing but positive things to say, I'm sure.
Chris, who was supposed to send me a key to that game, which he never did. So someone remind him, because I still want to play that game.
And also a quick fix, first tournament with Shadow Gaming, our new company, pretty much starting next weekend with a New World Interactive. Basically great studio, by the way, that I came to know over the last couple of weeks. We're doing a game on Sandstorm Insurgency with diving right into esports FPS stuff. We've got 10 people on the team putting together a great event, so check it out. We'll send the link on our Discord. It's gonna happen next weekend. You can also sign up, by the way, and just go play and compete. Believe it or not, we've got a $2,500 prize pool to be had for just signing up and playing. And if you can beat the other side, then you get moved to next weekend, and it's the finals and all that. And even if you don't compete in the chat, we're gonna be having a ton of giveaways. We're gonna drop a bunch of AAA games and all that stuff just for being there. So it's big extravaganza at OP Noobs. You'll find the links from on our OP Noobs Discord to the Shadow Gaming Discord, because now we're growing into several Discords. We're that big. And yeah. Just basically come and have fun with us. I'm looking forward to it and everything. And if not, before I close, big announcement: no Noobcast next week. Yeah, because technically speaking, maybe never ever again a Noobcast, because I am going on my first sailing trip completely solo. Tomorrow. For 6 nights straight. So I'm coming home Tuesday night, right? I don't have time to prepare the podcast. I don't have time for anything. And awesome. Yeah, just completely alone.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, we'll see if I survive. I'd
like to think you survive.
We don't know. My wife seriously doubts it.
I'm sure you you're well prepared for the deep sea, and you're going to have your solo sailing trips. It'll be wonderful. You'll have great stories, and I wish you all the best out there.
But see, how are we supposed to believe his stories because it's solo? So like he could say, "Oh,
it will be on YouTube.
I did
it will
this."
be on YouTube. I will prove it to you, Sarah. I'll send you. I'll send you videos as I go. If you want to FaceTime me while I'm on the water, like FaceTime me, no problem. I would be happy to get on the call and prove it to you. The same.
And do something awesome while we're on FaceTime.
Yeah, raise the main.
Awesome.
That sounds like a good weekend. I'm having a 4-day weekend, and I don't know what I'm doing. Probably playing with my cats.
Enjoy, man. Thanks, Logan. Right. Thanks, Sarah. You guys have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Okay.